This week's episode is brought to you by Crown Haven Wealth Advisors, your retirement reimagined. Coming up today on RetireSHIELD TV.
The key is to have a plan before something happens. And our clients will tell you that it feels phenomenal to know that you've got that plan before it happens, because then you're not freaking out. Red money is money that you are willing to go to the casino table with and you can afford to lose. So it's both your risk capacity, you can afford to lose it, and it's your risk tolerance, I'm okay with losing this. Green money is money that you know you can't afford to lose. It is set up to be guaranteed it's going to give you a certainty of outcome, and it is for use for either liquidity, emergencies, or income. So it's very important to have enough green money. And red money, green money is just a very easy way to delineate that for folks.
Knowing people and building trust. Get on the right path to achieve your retirement goals with Casey Marx and the team at Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. Understand the process and challenges of retirement planning. Discover the keys to a successful retirement.
Hello and welcome to RetireSHIELD TV. I'm consumer advocate Morgan Patrick, and as always, I am joined by the founder and CEO of Crown Haven Wealth Advisors and creator of the RetireSHIELD process, Casey Marx. Now, Casey is not only the author of Baby Boomer Retirement Boot Camp, which is a great book, he is also a retirement income certified professional as well as a certified financial fiduciary. It is so good to see you, Casey.
It's good to see you too, Morgan.
All right, so today we are talking about sledding. Now, I'm familiar with sledding, been down a few hills myself, but how does sledding relate to our viewers' retirement?
Well, so, I've been doing this for quite some time now, and I went back to my childhood and I started thinking about what I used to do when I would sled down a hill. So I would stand at the top of these huge hills and I would look at the bottom and I'd say, this is going to be the most fun ride I've ever taken in my life. And I would get on this sled with no concern for my own bodily harm. I'd get on it, I'd go down 20, 25, 30, 35 miles per hour. I'd fly off. And because I was so young, it didn't hurt to fall off the sled. And then what I'd do is I'd run back to the top of the hill and I'd do it again. And what occurred to me is that this is a very appropriate analogy for how people focus and allocate their money across different time periods in their life. And the question that I ask my clients all day long is, can you afford to go down that hill and crash? Because I'll tell you right now, if I were 70 years old, even right now, I wouldn't get on the same hill, get in the same sled, and have that fear of crashing, because at a very basic level, I know that if I were to fall off, I wouldn't be able to get out of the bed the next day. At 70, I might require major surgery if I fall off that sled. So when it comes to planning, we want to give folks the ability to have fun. And this is the other really important point here. It's not that you can't have fun, but we want to put you in a crash-proof sled. And that's really the foundational philosophy of how we approach retirement planning for our clients.
Well, and think about this too. The older you get, your time horizon is such that you need to be concerned about it. You can't be speeding down the hill at age 70.
No, and that's really where it all comes from. And there's a time period that is super important for quite literally everyone that doesn't have, let's call it $25 million or more. If you're part of like the 99.9% of all human beings that are going to have to rely on your investments for income replacement, it's very common that you'll hear from the financial, prognosticators that you should have, 6 months of savings in an emergency fund. So if you lose your job, you'll have enough income. It's very uncommon for financial advisors to say, hey, you should have replacement income set up from your portfolio when you retire. Why is that? It's extremely important, right? So you're in this time period right now. If you're 10 years out from retirement, if you're 10 years post-retirement, that we call the retirement red zone, where if you fall off that sled, not only does it significantly impact your ability to enjoy your life, i.e. you just fell off the sled, you crashed and you're hurt, but it's going to take a long time to get back to the top of that hill. So it's super important that we set up the accounts properly so that you can both enjoy your life, but you're protected against the crashes.
I mean, you think about it, we're talking to the masses about retirement planning, and there are many out there that feel like, you know, I've got my portfolio.
Yeah.
I've got my $2, $3, $4 million. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's not a plan.
Well, and folks will think that too. I mean, and it comes across the spectrum too, right? Like, because we have the privilege of working with some of the greatest people in the greatest state in the country. And, you know, these folks come in and from all different socioeconomic classes, right? We'll have somebody that's worked their tail off and they've saved $300,000. We have folks that come in and they've worked their tail off and they've saved $2 million. The desires are still the same, right? They want to pursue their version of happiness however they view it for themselves. I've never met anybody that wants to wake up tomorrow and have less money than they did the day before.
Not me.
Right? So they're worried about their wife or their husband, and they want to make sure that if somebody gets sick, they're going to be taken care of, et cetera, et cetera. So the goals are pretty similar. What people don't understand is that having investments and even having an investment manager is not the same thing as having a retirement plan. And in fact, when people come into our office, the one thing that they report to us more than anything else is that I have this advisor, even if I like the human being, they're not giving me the plan. I don't have the plan. I don't, and there are usually things that happen from an external nature, whether it's, you know, a banking crisis or, you know, COVID, that kind of rings the bell and somebody goes, I don't have a plan. The key is to have a plan before something happens, right? And our clients will tell you that it feels phenomenal to know that you've got that plan before it happens, because then you're not freaking out. But they'll tell us, we don't have the plan. And that's what retirement planners do. This isn't a mystery. You don't go to a McDonald's and order a taco. You go to McDonald's because you want the Big Mac. So all our firm has done is we've created the value proposition that solves the problem for folks. And it's uniquely positioned to, you know, systematically address all the important issues that people need addressed.
Well, I mean, we're here to talk about RetireSHIELD. How is this going to solve this issue?
Well, it starts with secure income planning. So what I just talked about, we want to make sure that you have secure replacement income in retirement for all of the things that you need and more than enough money for the things that you want. And we want that to be with certainty. It's not a guessing game. It's not if come. If come is income that might happen. Income you can rely on. So it's income. That's number one. Number two, we want to make sure that there's a cohesive investment strategy that's set up to give you enough liquidity for all the things that might pop up, emergencies, liquidity for things you might want to do, like take vacations, enjoy yourself, and then have that income set up. If you then have the risk capacity to take risk, it's okay to look at that, but that should not be the main event. Once we have those two things taken care of, guess what we're capable of doing at that point? We're then able to look at how we can maximize your after-tax return, which is your most important return. We're able to make sure that a healthcare catastrophe doesn't turn into a financial emergency. We're able to make sure that your wishes are carried out the way they should be carried out for all the time and energy that you've spent to create your legacy. It starts with a relationship. We want to understand who you are. We're going to diagnose the issues. We're going to solve the problem. We're going to deliver you a plan that you can rely on. And that's why we did it.
It's not if come, it's income. I love that. Now we're about to take a very quick break, but if you want your own personalized RetireSHIELD plan or a free copy of Casey's book, Baby Boomer Retirement Bootcamp, make sure to call the number that is on your screen right now and talk with one of our representatives, or you can always visit the website RetireSHIELD.tv. Again, that's RetireSHIELD.tv. So there are two ways to do this. Again, call the number on the screen. You can ask for that book, again, Baby Boomer Retirement Bootcamp, or you can go to the website and again, find out more about RetireSHIELD. Go to RetireSHIELD.tv.
Memories Days with Grandpa.
My first job.
My fourth job.
Crazy road trips.
Our first date.
Meeting our son.
Exploring our world.
Our world.
Family and friends. Our special song.
Secure your retirement by meeting with your local, independent, and fiduciary advisor at Crown Haven. Take advantage of your complimentary relationship visit by calling Casey Marx and the team at Crown Haven today.
Hello and welcome back to RetireSHIELD TV. I'm consumer advocate Morgan Patrick, and as always, I am joined by the founder and CEO of Crown Haven Wealth Advisors and creator of the RetireSHIELD process, Casey Marx. Casey is a retirement income certified professional as well as a certified financial fiduciary. All right, so prior to the break, Casey, you were explaining to our viewers that you're near retirement. It becomes more difficult to kind of take the ups and downs of the market. And not to mention, I mean, when you think about it, being able to sustain massive losses from a market crash. Now, if people are not prepared or have a plan in place to shield them from this market volatility, I mean, it really can have a life-changing ramification. So luckily, through your trademarked RetireSHIELD plan, you have a solution for your clients to kind of grow their retirement savings while also ensuring that they don't take any losses.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the foundational principle behind our RetireSHIELD process. We want you to be able to enjoy your life, and to kind of use the sledding analogy again, we want you to be able to go down that hill, enjoy the sledding, but be in a crash-proof sled. That's what we want to be doing for folks.
So I've heard different terms, and again, we talk retirement each and every week here on the program, but so let's talk a little bit about just the difficulty of making up losses, again, depending on where you are in your retirement planning process.
Well, so just to put this in perspective for folks, I mean, most advisors are going to say, hey, you know, you got to ride this out. Well, number one, you're in a distribution phase. You can't ride it out any longer. You need to actualize those losses in order to create income. But let's say you take a 25% loss to a portfolio. That takes more than a 30% gain to get back to even. Let's say that you take a 30% loss to a portfolio. That takes a 43% gain to get back to even. Let's say you take a 50% loss to a portfolio. That takes a 100% gain to get back to even. So not only is it difficult to make up from losses, but then there's the question of, do you have the time in order to do that? And that is and I'm here to tell you from an academic standpoint, it's not only very difficult, it's darn near impossible when you're trying to create income from your investments to maintain your standard of living, which is where we get into the discussion of, are you insured against time? Because what your investments amount to, really, if we were to talk to clients, you know, if I were to talk to 100 of my clients and talk to them about what their investments mean to them, it's the sum total of all the time and energy that they put into saving over the course of the last 20, 30, 40 years. And I promise you that when you see a decline happen in your portfolio, you're not imagining little dollars and decimal points falling off of a cliff, and you're not, you know, playing the world's smallest violin for that. It is, I am literally watching my time and energy erode in front of my eyes. And now how do I create that money again, which is going to then require what? Time and energy. And it's either by working, it's either by managing my investments, it's either by stress, having to call my advisor and manage my advisor in my retirement, which is not fun. So this all relates back.
So there's so many of us out there, and we're considering our retirement planning. And we hear the term red money, green money. We hear it all the time. You go online, you do any kind of search, you're going to find out a lot about, you know, just the terms red money and green money. But how is that going to work for retirement planning?
Well, so red money is money that you are willing to go to the casino table with and you can afford to lose. So it's both your risk capacity, you can afford to lose it, and it's your risk tolerance. I'm okay with losing this. Most people have way too much money in red money, and they feel it in their gut, which is why every time you see a market correction, you're not okay with that. And you call up your advisor and go, Do you have a plan for this? Are you handling this? Is everything okay? And you need reassurance. If you're feeling it in your gut, it's probably not set up properly. Green money is money that you know you can't afford to lose. It is set up to be guaranteed. It's going to give you a certainty of outcome, and it is for use for either liquidity, emergencies, or income. And 99% of all people out there are saving and investing to do what? Create replacement income, when in the best case scenario, they no longer want to work. Worst case scenario, they can't work. And then guess what? That becomes replacement income for your spouse when you're gone. So it's very important to have enough green money. And red money, green money is just a very easy way to delineate that for folks.
I tell you folks, just having a plan, it's very, very important. A lot of you out there are kind of do-it-yourselfers. You're sitting on that portfolio and you feel like you're good. You know, working with a fiduciary firm, someone that can guide you, someone that can walk with you, not just to retirement, but through retirement, so very, very important. The opportunity to find out more about RetireSHIELD is coming, but let's talk about how RetireSHIELD can really help with these issues.
Well, you know what? Number one, it gives you a plan. So many people are working with advisors or doing it themselves, and you just touched on it, and they don't have the plan, and they don't have certainty of outcome. You need certainty of outcome. You need to know that your intentions are going to be fulfilled. And this all gets back to, it's the story of the noble soldier. It all gets back to, are you using the proper tool to achieve the outcome? And, you know, I'll touch on this really quickly. But, you know, you can be acting with great intentions and simply be using the wrong tool for the job. And, you know, in modern war folklore, there was a story about a noble soldier that essentially brought a knife to a gunfight. And, you know, even with the best of intentions, failed. And it's because of a very simple use of the wrong tool. And so when we're getting to retirement, we need to be using the proper tools, and that answers your question, which is, how does RetireSHIELD solve it? We're using the proper tools. I'm not going to get out a jackhammer when I put my plumbing in. If all I have is a bag of hammers, you don't want the house I'm going to build. Like, we are going to use the proper tool for each result we are trying to achieve. And you can only do that when you're working with an independent firm like ours, who's also beholden to your best interests, working in a fiduciary capacity, which then gives us the true freedom, to be quite frank, to build a cohesive portfolio from all of these different tools to achieve those targets in a systematic way. And the result of that is you have complete confidence that you are going to get certainty of outcome. I'm not sitting here saying hammers are the best tool since sliced white bread. I'm not sitting here saying wrenches are the best tools since sliced white bread. I'm not sitting here saying screwdrivers are the best tools. I'm saying all of them do certain things, and we have the subject matter expertise to build the house extremely well. And that's what we do.
I tell you, and everybody is different. It's going to be customized to the individual, to the couple that is retiring.
Absolutely.
So there's not this template or a drawer A, B, and C when you come into the office and go, oh, let's put them in A.
No.
That's not how it works. So folks, with that, we're about to take a quick break. But before we do, I wanted to remind you that you can join the thousands of Hoosiers that have already shielded their retirement with a personalized RetireSHIELD plan. Our lines are open right now. They're always open, so call the number that is on your screen and talk with one of our representatives, or you can visit our website, RetireSHIELD.tv, for your own personalized RetireSHIELD plan, or you can pick up a free copy of Casey's book, Baby Boomer Retirement Boot Camp.
Do you know what that sound is? It's me traveling the world. Europe to Asia. I'm vacationing and living the retirement of my dreams because I just met with my advisor at Crown Haven. They helped me turn my nest egg into a golden egg. Take advantage of your complimentary relationship visit by calling Casey Marx and the team at Crown Haven today.
Welcome back to RetireSHIELD TV. I'm consumer advocate Morgan Patrick, and as always, I am joined by the founder and CEO of Crown Haven Wealth Advisors and creator of the RetireSHIELD process, Casey Marx. Casey is a retirement income certified professional as well as a certified financial fiduciary. All right, before the break, Casey, you were informing our viewers that as retirement approaches, it becomes more challenging to kind of tolerate the highs and lows of the market. We get that. And as well as, say, the potential for devastating losses during a market crash. Now, without adequate preparation or protective planning in place, to shield against market volatility, I mean, it can have a significant and also life-altering ramification to the individual or the couple. Now, fortunately, your trademarked RetireSHIELD plan offers a solution to kind of help clients grow their retirement savings without any losses.
That's correct. And that's something that we take great pride in. And it's the foundational principle of our firm. I mean, look, I came from a blue-collar background. My dad worked his entire life to save what he amassed by the time he passed away when I was 15 years old. And then I watched my mom lose darn near everything working with a big broker-dealer. And sometimes in life, your passion finds you, and knowledge comes from necessity. And our RetireSHIELD is the sum total of all the knowledge that I wish I would have had to help my own mother. So quite literally, the foundational principle of what we're doing here is ensuring that our clients are going to be okay regardless of what is happening in the world. They're going to be able to enjoy their life, and they're going to be able to enjoy their retirement that they've worked so hard to get to.
I tell you, folks, very important to have a plan. A lot of people are going through different things. We're now going to do some question and answer, and you'll get a feel for what other people are going through. But remember, your situation is unique to you, and you need a retirement shield that is just that custom. So stay tuned. You'll have an opportunity to get on that retirement shield. All right, so with that being said, let's go to RetireSHIELD TV viewer questions. And remember, you can ask Casey your very own retirement questions by going to retireshield.tv and filling out the TV question form. All right, first question, William in Carmel. I'm about to be entering retirement in the next 6 months, and I'm looking to mitigate the volatility within my portfolio. Is there a product or products or maybe an investment strategy that can be used to kind of accomplish this for me?
Well, sir, it sounds like what you're looking for is our three-bucket approach. Now, while I can't provide you any specific advice over mass media, I would recommend that you reach out to our office, and I'll sit down with you and we'll go through a relationship visit where we can determine exactly what your desired goals and outcomes are. But short answer to your question, yeah, there are a bunch of tools that can be used to create certainty of outcome, security, safety, reliability for your retirement portfolio, not just now, but over the years. And that's with inflation built in, that's with taxation built in, maximizing your after-tax return. All of those things are accounted for, because when you're working with a retirement planning firm, our job is to land the plane. Our job is to make sure that it's smooth sailing for you. And that's what we pride ourselves in doing.
Question and answer portion of the program, always very interesting. So let's go to Indianapolis. We have Elizabeth. Here's the question. I am 2 years from retiring, and recently I experienced a 20% loss in my portfolio. About how long does it take to kind of make that back? And are there other ways to do this other than riding out the market?
Well, Elizabeth, first of all, I want to just extend my apology that you've taken that type of a hit. That's always difficult to see, and I know that you're visualizing all the time and energy that it took to save those funds when you see that loss happen. It does take quite some time to make those returns back, assuming that you're passively invested in the market, if you're in the S&P 500, some sort of index fund. And I think, to give you my honest assessment of where the markets are at, it's going to be a very difficult path forward. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world. The better question, though, to ask yourself would be, what is your risk capacity, and can you afford to lose any more? A lot of times people think about this the wrong way, and it's not because they have poor intentions. It's because this is just human nature. If we lose money, we want to earn it back. That's why you'll see somebody sit at a blackjack table after they've lost $100 and they'll put another 100 back on the table. They want to earn their money back. But that's also the gambler's fallacy. And the reality is most people don't need to put themselves at risk to earn that back. So the second part of your question, are there ways for you to earn that money back without taking risk? Absolutely there are. Those are the tools that we use for secure income planning at our firm. And again, that's why I would recommend that you reach out to us. I will sit down with you personally. I'll go over all of the goals that you're trying to achieve, and we will put together a complete retirement map for you so you know exactly what to expect and you can get certainty of outcome that you're looking for.
Starts with that conversation. Next up, Jennifer in Whitestown. Here's the question. I would like to be a few years from retirement, but I started saving too late. Now I'm in an aggressive investment situation to kind of make up the difference in savings. If a market crash would occur, then I'll likely have to work a few more years. I mean, is this a viable plan?
So I think some clarity needs to be created here with what you mean by aggressive saving, because when you say aggressive saving, you could mean that you're saving very aggressively for retirement, or you could mean that your savings are in a very aggressive stance. Saving aggressively, putting a lot away, is really smart ahead of retirement. And in fact, that's one of the ways that you can increase your retirement savings substantially in addition to working a couple of extra years. Putting yourself in an aggressive position, which also carries significantly more risk, is not the way to go. And I think that's where you're headed with this question. If a market crash were to occur, I think it's very important to understand how long it takes to make up those losses. It's not going to be just I work a couple of more years. Quite literally, if you take a 30% decline, it takes a 43% gain to get back to even. With historical averages of how the market works, that's at a very basic level going to take 6 to 7 years. That's a long time. And that's assuming that another crash doesn't happen during those subsequent 7 years. So what we see time and time again are people that will experience this while they're in the retirement red zone. And they'll be forced to do that, and then the worst case scenario is they'll be forced to do it again. And the most recent example of this was you had folks that lost a ton of money in 2001, 2002. It took them a long time to get it back, right in time for what? The financial crisis. And that's very likely to happen. So it's very important to protect what you have, and there are ways to do that, and that's what we show people how to do.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today. We'll be back next week, but if you are looking for peace of mind in your retirement, don't wait. Remember, our lines are open 24/7, so call the number that's on your screen, or you can visit RetireSHIELD.tv for your free copy of Casey's book, Baby Boomer Retirement Boot Camp, or to have a personalized RetireSHIELD plan created just for you by Casey and his team of financial advisors.